Pay attention.
We'll call to order the Tuesday, December 20th, 2016 meeting of the Iredell County Board of Commissioners. If you'll please bow your heads in silent prayer. And if you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right now, Mr. Smith, our county manager, will review the adjustments to the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is one adjustment to the agenda. I'd like to remove item 8.7 under Administrative Matters, and this was a request from Animal Services.
So noted. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Houck. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, at this time, we have a presentation of an award that is a unique award to the state of North Carolina. And we have a special presenter and a special recipient. And at this time, I would ask that Mr. Frank Mitchell come forward. And I would introduce Representative Mitchell Setzer, who is here to make this presentation to a surprised Frank Mitchell.
My friend and brother, sometimes we don't thank the people in our lives that have made a difference and made an impact. And I can say Frank Mitchell has made an impact on my life. When I met Frank 19 years ago, 18 now, I've been in that legislature 18 years and I met him the year before. When I became a House member, he was a friend, a brother, and a mentor. And he helped me navigate through a tedious group of people. And he did it with kindness, common sense, and just great good kindness. And in honor of your dedicated and devoted public service to the citizens of Iredell County, to this commission, and to the state of North Carolina, I would like to present to you a long overdue presentation. I would like to present to you the Order of the Longleaf Pine, the highest honor that can be conferred by the governor for your outstanding and devoted public service. A job well done, and I am so proud I got to be a part of it.
One of my best friends for a long time and always will be, but I'm mad at you because I was told to be here tonight to give Steve Johnson an award.
The illusion and the big trick. One more thing I'd like to do. Frank, this flag was flown over the state capitol in your honor for the dedicated and devoted service to the citizens of Iredell County and the state of North Carolina. And it was flown the 28th day of November, 2016, as a token from me in appreciation for all you've done.
Well, Representative Setzer, I appreciate you doing this, but I more appreciate what all you are doing for everyone in North Carolina. You have been a mainstay. You've been a pillar of the community, pillar of the General Assembly, and a leader. And you are highly thought of and really loved by me. And I can tell you that right now.
Thank you.
And I don't know what to say.
And that is exactly what we were trying to do, to surprise you. Because being as self-aware as you are, this was a difficult task to perform, and I'd like to thank Mrs. Gail Mitchell for allowing this and helping in this opportunity. Surprise. Last thing we plan is James, and as you all know, the state safer from the General Assembly is adjourned. Congratulations, my dear friend. I am so glad I had the opportunity and honor to finally give you the recognition you so deserve. And I'd like to share it. Yes, and I'd like to thank the commission board, county manager, the ladies I bothered today, helping this. I'd like to thank all of y'all for allowing this time and allowing me to be part of this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you, Frank. Congratulations.
And thank you, Commissioner Johnson, for playing your role. I'll just say, Frank. Hey, Frank. Just hold on just a second. I would just like to. I know. I'd say the highlight of my tenure as the chairman of the Iredell County Republican Party from 1989 to 91 was the recruiting and the ability to put up a slate of candidates to include Frank Mitchell and Sarah Hare at the time as county commissioners. And, of course, it was only one term 2 years later, 1992, that you went to serve in the General Assembly. Representing the 96th District and serving 6 terms, I believe. And then coming back as a reprise to this board in 2010 following the passing of Godfrey Williams through 2012. So, it's truly appropriate that the Order of the Longleaf Pine be bestowed on you, because your service to the county, which, as we all know, owes its existence, its legal creation of the state. So your service as a county commissioner and in the General Assembly is a double service to the state of North Carolina. And we thank you and salute you. Thank you. Moving on, we do have something that came to our attention today, a recognition for one of our outstanding principals in the Iredell Statesville school system. And I would ask Commissioner Haupt to please give a shout out to this deserving young lady.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Norman and I are, as you know, on the Education Task Force, and part of what we plan to do in the future is to recognize educators in Iredell County for accomplishments that they have in school systems. So, having said that, I would like to recognize Amy Ryan. She's the principal at East Elementary School. Today she was awarded the Southwest Region Principal of the Year for North Carolina. She will now represent Iredell Statesville Schools and the Southwest Region of North Carolina for the Principal of the Year competition in Cary, North Carolina, March the 3rd, 2017. We wanted to wish her luck and tell her how proud we are of her.
So unfortunately, we didn't have time to get Ms. Ryan here, but this is a shout out to her, and officially on the record, we're very proud of what our principals and our teachers do in Iredell County to educate our young people and to prepare them for being productive citizens for their life. At this time, we have several appointments before the board. Item 6.1 we have a report from Martin Starnes and Associates, who are our CPAs, for a audit that they completed for the county through June 30th of 2016. And Ms. Susan Robertson will tee this up.
Yes, I'd like to introduce to you this evening Cassie Wilson. She is the principal audit manager for Iredell County. She was here during the spring and summer with interim work. She was not here for final audit work this year because she had a new baby boy. But we're glad she's back to present a PowerPoint presentation to you tonight. At each of your seats, I left a copy of the comprehensive annual financial report that was delivered to us this afternoon by our printers. It is a lengthy document, and I'll just say Cassie's going to provide to you the highlights, which can be done on just a few slides. But after she finishes, I would like to speak again for just a minute to point you to some special information that's included within the report. Cassie?
Thank you. Thank you for having me tonight.
And congratulations.
Thank you. Is it ready to go?
It takes just a few seconds.
Okay. And which do I use? This? There we go. I'll just briefly go over some highlights from the audit. We did issue an unmodified opinion, which is a clean report, the highest opinion that we can give. We very much appreciate the staff for all their hard work and dedication in getting us the information. Not only the finance department, we are involved with all the departments within the county. We see a lot of them. The department heads each offer information to us, and through our planning process, through our final fieldwork process, the DSS and health department, there are big resources in getting us the information that we need, and we really appreciate each and every one of them for taking the time to get us what we need and their cooperation with us throughout the process. The total fund balance for the general fund ended at $80,629,428. That is a $15,101,400 increase from the prior year. And we'll discuss the revenues and expenses and the change in that on the upcoming slides. The fund balance is broken down into different classifications. The 5 classifications: non-spendable, restricted, committed, assigned, and unassigned. So the fund balance position for the general fund, as I mentioned before, what the total fund balance ended at, gave us an available fund balance ending for the year at $59,823,711. That was an increase in the available fund balance from fiscal year 2015 to fiscal year 2016. So fund balance as a percent of the general fund expenditures for the fiscal year 2016, this calculation does include transfers out of the general fund. This is the percentage that the LGC focuses on. However, we also include on this slide the unassigned percentage of expenditures for the general fund, because that's something that management tends to look at in more depth, because it includes all of your other restrictions, your committed and your assigned as well. So you had available fund balance percentage of 35%, and then your unassigned percentage was 24% for the current fiscal year ended 2016. So for the general fund summary, we had revenues and expenditures both decreased. These amounts, though, include other sources and uses for both revenues and expenditures. So when the county had a refunding in the prior year, it inflated both of those numbers. So this year it's a little more true to historic information. So you will see that the revenues for 2016 totaled $188,778,198, and expenditures totaled $173,676,798 for 2016. The general fund revenues, broken down in your top categories, property taxes, of course, being the largest percent of your revenues, totaled 61%. Your other taxes and license was 19%, federal and state grants at 10%, and then the other, which included unrestricted intergovernmental permits and fees, sales and services, investment earnings, and miscellaneous revenue, was 10%. And these are pretty comparable percentages to the prior year as well. So the ad valorem taxes increased from 2015 to 2016. They totaled $114,883,588 for 2016. There was a tax rate increase that gives the explanation for the increase from 2015 to 2016. Your other taxes and license totaled $35,731,230. The majority of this category is your local option sales tax. The restricted intergovernmental totaled $19,234,005 for 2016. This is made up of your federal and your state grants. For the general fund expenditures, your main categories there, you had education totaling 32%, human services totaling 19%, public safety totaling 20%, other expenditures was 13%, and your debt service was 16%. Your other expenditures include the general government, economic and development, culture and recreation. And these percentages are comparable to the prior year with only a 1 to 2% shift in some of those categories. So for education, the breakdown for 2016 totaled $53,848,244. That does not include the debt service that's related to that. That is in debt service. So for debt service, you totaled $26,321,628 for 2016. Human services totaled $32,178,405. The majority of this funding is your federal and state grants that support these expenditures. And public safety totaled $32,877,260. And there's various factors for that increase, but we can go in detail if you would like. For a solid waste disposal facility, the net operating income totaled $3,220,768. The depreciation expense out of that was $1,221,525. The total net position ended at $39,809,584. The unrestricted net position was $16,697,933. And the cash flows that was provided by operations was $4,655,064. For the EMS Special Services Fund, the net operating income was $322,831. The depreciation expense of that was $112,847. The total net position ended at $1,951,579. The unrestricted net position of that totaled $1,417,704. And the cash flows provided by operations for this fund was $328,344. And that's the highlights and the information to the general fund and your main enterprise funds. Are there any questions?
don't believe any questions.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Thank you for we look forward to digesting the full contents here with
Yes.
with the proctoring by Susan. Okay, and congratulations again.
Thank
Let me ask a quick question. How many audits would you say that are conducted by your firm?
We have a
County
large
audits.
We have a large percentage base for the state. We cover counties, cities, towns. Nonprofits, the for-profit as well. But we have a very large percentage base for government audits. Our exact number, I'm not sure, but we have a lot of reports that we produce this time of the year.
Hey, just, I don't mean to put you on the spot with a opinion or just pulling some numbers, but just having seen a number of these, how would you rack and stack Iredell County relative to other counties in the state based on accuracy and internal controls in terms of reporting and management, and then just in terms of general financial condition?
Well, I can speak to a few things. I can say as far as internal controls, which I have audited and went through for the county, I have been very impressed and I'm very pleased with the controls that are in place, the attention that is given to that and the detail that goes into it. It takes a lot of our time to get all that organized and that information together. And the finance department here is wonderful about helping us go through that and understanding what the procedures are for your county. And we are very pleased with what we've been given, and the ability to test those controls is a huge part of that, and we're able to do that here. A big focus, I will say, for this year is that compliance-wise, and I won't go into much detail on compliance. It is not a favorite topic of anyone, but your DSS and the health department and all the time and energy that goes into that, we didn't have any issues with that this year, and there were a lot of units across the state that have really had a lot of findings and a lot of issues. Understanding the internal controls, not that they aren't doing them, but they're trying to interpret the information that they're given, and the state isn't always as black and white as we would like for them to be when it comes to these matters. So the time and energy that the county has put into that, and making sure not only the finance department side of it, but the rest of your internal controls throughout the county are operating and detailed and able for us to test, is a very important thing, and we were able to do that without, any major problems. We were, there was a little bit of back and forth, as there always is, understanding our language and your language, and making sure that we tie the gap together there. But we have not had any issues with coming to that point. The organization of the staff and everything has been terrific here. I have been in far less sophisticated units that do struggle with getting the information and keeping up with it, and their records are not as easy to follow. There's a lot of electronic information here that makes our job a lot easier, and we're very appreciative of that and the ability to do that. So as far as making the audit process and going through our procedures, your unit is definitely ranking in the top of the units that we audit. We do a very thorough job, and they make that job a lot easier for us to accomplish in the time frames that we're given. As far as comparison to other units, it's really hard because each unit has their own agenda and their own needs that they need to meet for their community, and to tax base wise, they know what they need and they know what their citizens can handle. And what kind of projects you have upcoming, what capital outlay you have in the foreseeable future, and what your plans are. But So each unit is different. So as far as comparison, really that's the LGC's job to go through and see in your population group where you're at. And they have great resources on their website that you can go in and pull down that information and see in your population group where you rank. Sometimes it's just really hard to compare that because you may have certain services and other information that other units in your population group either have or don't have. And so sometimes that comparison gets a little strained there. It's not exactly apples and apples. It's apples and oranges more. But you can go on there, and it provides a great resource if you're really wanting to see within your population group what the other units across the state are doing and where they stand in their expenditures and revenues and what they're bringing in and putting out.
Well, we appreciate the thoroughness and the professionalism of your auditing team, and our ability to be responsive to that is also it's primed by the teaching points and the tips that you share through the process, and that just makes us better, and we always strive to improve. And
we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Robertson.
Thank you, Cassie. I do want to say I'm disappointed that Assistant Finance Director Deb Alford couldn't be here tonight. She came to work for us in 2005. She's under the weather. That's the reason she isn't here. But since that time, this has been one of her primary assignments each year, is to coordinate the work that has to be compiled in our offices and prepare for the auditors to be here. And it's not just once a year, it's several times a year. They come in early in the spring and do interim work. They may come back in June and do more work. Then they come back in September and do final work. So it's an ongoing process throughout the year, and she does a tremendous job, and I very much appreciate all she does. Cassie pointed out that we did get the best opinion this year, and as we usually or always have for our financial statements. But I wanted to point out to you that beginning on page 143 in this big book, there's some statistical information, and I want to make sure that you all do know it's there. You'll see financial trends, our revenue capacity, debt capacity, demographic and economic information, as well as some operating information. And I think it's important when you think about our county, about these changes and what we do provide in this report to you each year. If you turn on over to page 160, that's really the end of the report. But for convenience, we publish our compliance report together with the entire CAFR. Some units publish it separately, but we do publish it as one document for your ease. And Cassie, I really appreciate her talking about compliance, because that is compliance is a huge thing. That is a requirement. It's called a single audit we have to have. So they're auditing not just the financial piece, but also compliance with federal and state rules regarding every program that you could imagine that's funded through Department of Social Services as well as the Health Department. This compliance section includes their opinions, in which you'll find in those different opinions, there were no findings this year, as same for last year. And I think that especially Department of Social Services and the Health Department, I certainly commend them, and they have done a tremendous job. The amount of stress that those staff members are under, the number of sheets of paper and applications and follow-up that those staff members have to do is incredible. Yvette came to the last meeting just to hear the compliance report, because I don't talk about it until the Board of Commissioners hear it first. You hear it first. And she did come to the last one, not realizing that we'd had to pull it at the very last minute. But she and her staff, as well as every department that receives grants, have just done a tremendous job. over $220 million. It doesn't all flow through Iredell County, but the work that those departments do as far as income maintenance, adoption assistance, electronic benefits for food and nutrition services, Medicaid, that is what comes in and supports the citizens of Iredell County just for our county alone, and it's a result of the work that those departments do. And I just wanted to point that out because, especially with all that they've had to face the last couple of years, I was very pleased that there weren't any findings, but there were absolutely none. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan, and thanks to your staff. A tremendous amount of effort goes into this, as you said, year-round. It's not just a couple-week issue. And certainly passing on to the departments, and I can speak for, to some extent, the Department of Social Services on their board. You know, every single month, financials are reviewed in rather excruciating detail, and the issues of dealing with a computer system that qualifies folks for Medicaid and other benefits, which requires a significant amount of work to not just input, but then to re-input and then re-input again, and to consistently work with patches and changes in the system that then produce unanticipated gremlins in the system, and just a tremendous amount of can be very frustrating on top of the natural stress associated with a lot of the programs that they have to oversee. So I will certainly pass on your findings, and congratulations for their hard work to be in compliance, particularly with all these funds that come from the federal and state government to support those programs.
Thank you.
Gene?
Yes. I just wanted to say thank you to Cassie and congratulations, and thank you to Martin Starnes. And I want to just thank Ron and Beth and Susan and Deb and all of our staff. And it's nice to see, especially with the improvements with the department Susan talked about, having been here a couple years ago, the massive things that they do and the criticisms that they get when they don't do things right. I just wanted to make sure that we adequately congratulate all of our departments, because they are spending the taxpayer dollars wisely. They're spending it on what it's intended to be spent on. And so I just wanted to publicly say thank you for a job well done, and wish you all Merry Christmas for that. Thank you.
Other than receiving the report, is there any action item associated with the report? The audit. Okay. Thank you again. And moving on to item 6.2, a request from Iredell County Crosby Scholars to introduce their program. So,
thanks for having us, and maybe it's a reintroduction for some people and a little bit of an update now that we're in our second year. So I'm Suzanne Wegmiller. I'm the Executive Director of the program, and I'd like to introduce the two other staff members that serve with the program. Jill Hypes is our Program Director, and Andre Neely is our Program Associate, and it's the three of us that are working with 2,200 students this year, which we're proud to say. We're up from our first year with 1,600 to 2,200 this year, from 6th grade through 11th grade. And next year we'll have our full range from 6th grade through seniors. So as we've brought the program online, we've upped from 10th grade to 11th grade to 12th grade, because it takes that 3-year period really to get them prepared for that senior year and making all those decisions. So you guys can go ahead and sit down if you want. But just briefly, the Bing Crosby is named after Bing, and it started 25 years ago. The program is celebrating the anniversary in Forsyth County. They started at one high school, started with seniors, and then soon found out they had to start earlier than that. So now we're back to middle school. And the program now is in 3 counties. Rowan started their program in 2012 when Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina partnered with the original program and brought it to Rowan County, and then 2015 brought it here. So as of this year, there are over 14,000 students participating in the program in those 3 counties. So we're really excited to be the newest program, and we're really looking forward to 2018 when we'll graduate our first group of seniors and celebrate with them while they choose to go probably all over the country, we hope, to whatever school they choose. And we're also hoping that a lot of them will stay right here in Iredell County and pursue some of the good programs we have right here at Mitchell, whether it's a 2-year degree or a 1-year or less than a 1-year program if they're interested in being in some of those public safety jobs that you're talking about, or maybe working at DSS. Because we're also looking at ourselves as part of the workforce development here in the county. We want to make these students aware, hopefully when they're still in middle school, of some of the opportunities that are here, because we feel like a lot of these kids don't know what goes on in some of these factories that are on the streets and in the industrial parks. And we'd like to open their eyes a little bit to some of those opportunities and let them know that there are opportunities that they are able to do, and if they get their mind set on it and keep their focus on the path, they'll be successful. So that's what our goal is. We want to prepare them personally so they've got the right skills and the habits to be successful. We want them to be prepared academically, and then toward the end we want them to know how to financially find the resources that will allow them to attend the program that they would like to attend. So I've got a few people here with me tonight. Vicki Sawyer's with us. She's the chair of our board of directors, and she's decided not to take up your time by speaking, but she's here to support us. We've also got Beth Packman, who's one of our board of directors as well. Then I've got a student here. We serve 25 schools in the county, all the public schools, including Mooresville and the ISS system, plus the charter schools. So Rohan is here, and he's going to introduce himself and talk a little bit about his experience, what he's done in the program so far, and why he decided to join. So I'll let him take over.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rohan Parashar, and I go to Langtree Charter Academy. And when Miss Wegmeiler and Miss Hypes first came to our school last year, the thing I was most interested in was the academies, because you had the chance to do better in school and later on in life. And in 7th grade, I chose to do the academies dealing with stereotypes and cooling off. And in 8th grade this year, I chose to do transition to high school and getting good grades. In the summer of before I started 8th grade, we went on college tours to North Carolina A&T University and High Point University, and I really liked that because it showed us a glimpse of what college would be like. And it was interesting enough to learn that one of my teachers graduated from High Point University, and it was nice to tell her that. I saw her college, and I feel really lucky that Crosby Scholars came to Iredell County while I was still in middle school. Thank you.
Keep up the hard work.
Thank you, Ron.
Rohan's taken advantage of a lot of the programs and even asked to come to extra ones so that he could get all of the different sessions that we offered in. So we love that kind of enthusiasm from our students. So also we've got Jade Spratling here with her parents, Kayla and Reginald. And Jade is a junior at Mooresville High School, and she's also one of our officers. So I'm not exactly sure which ones of them have decided to speak. They were undecided earlier, so it's like Jade and her dad have come to agree.
Okay, so I'm Jade. I am a junior, like she's already said. I enjoy being a Crosby Scholar because I am able to do a lot of community service, and I like community service because I love helping people. And I also like that I get a lot of college information, and at the little meetings that we have at school, and also the academies that we're required to go to.
Good evening. My name is Reggie Spratling. I'm Jade's dad. I think this program is really great. It allows the children to be exposed to things that they're not normally exposed to. It gives them opportunities to help in the community through volunteering. And again, it basically helps them to be well-rounded, going into college and everything. Gives them opportunities to do things that they normally wouldn't be able to do. Also, it gives them more information. The schools are busy, the counselors are busy. They have a lot. They have their hands full. So that's another avenue for information as far as scholarships, colleges, different job opportunities. Again, the exposure that it provides. Like I said, a lot of children don't know about certain things, and this program provides that avenue. The different things. What was the one program the academy y'all did that we talked about on the way home? No, there was to help in the community. You said that you would like to help low-income families or something, and I said, right. Well, how would you do that? Okay. Well, we would provide jobs and information. Okay. Well, where would you do that at? It was the whole thing, and the bottom line, it came down to money. Well, where would you get the money from? It provided a whole big picture. So it just gets them thinking, and, that's really good. So I believe that this program really is helpful, and I really think we need to keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spratling, and thank you for your service. And thank you, Jade.
Yeah, so they're at the point where they're going to be starting the Rising Senior process in a couple of months, really, because that's one of the things that we've learned. I don't know if any of you recently have put a student in college, but all that process starts earlier than it used to. It's much more complicated. I have a student now that's a junior at NC State, and that was what I was doing shortly before this job came open, and it was a lot of work, and I was a person who was educated and has been to college, although it changed a whole lot since I, picked a school and went, pretty much. That was it. But what I hope for people at the end of this is what my daughter says to me now, is that, Mom, I know I picked the right career for myself, I picked the right major, and I picked the right school, and she loves it, she's working, she's fulfilled, and that's what I want for these students and these parents, is to have that same feeling. No matter if they're at Harvard, if they're at Forsyth Tech, if they're at Mitchell, whatever, because there is a place for everyone, and that's what we want to help them find. And if we can do that, then I consider it a success, and that's what my goal is for all of those 2,200 kids that we have this year, and hopefully next year it's going to be more than that. So appreciate your time, and I hope that if you have the chance to let somebody know about the program, that you'll take the opportunity to tell them to check it out. So thank you very much.
So you're in all the middle schools?
We're in the middle schools and the high schools, yes.
Yeah. Marvin?
Mr. Wymiller, I just want to thank you. My grandson's in the 9th grade at West Iredell. This program's been very good for him. And taking him on the field trips to colleges and universities, it's been really good because he's kind of a person that's kind of shy, and this has really brought him out. And I do appreciate what you guys are doing. You're doing a good job. You got a good program. The program we had at the Unity Center was great, too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
How do you leverage the three of you to reach 2,200 people?
Well, part of it is Forsyth County has a lot of practice, and they have a very efficient way of doing the academies, and we hire teachers, basically, that do the presentations for us. It's a lot of work, and we do try to keep a lot of personal touch in the program. So we're out in the schools a lot, the three of us. We've kind of divided the county geographically because I live in the north, Jill lives in the central part, and Andre lives in the south. So, we kind of take those areas, and we'll, see us in the schools periodically. And we're actually going to be hiring. I have a new half-time position that I got approved in the budget to help us out with the new senior part that we're starting, because we will be assigning individual volunteer advisors to Jade, and if she requests one. that will work individually with them until she completes her whole process. So they'll be making sure she doesn't miss deadlines, that she knows about all the different financial aids, that she's looking at all the possible schools that have her major that she wants to look at. So it is challenging, but I said Forsyth has it down and has practiced at it for 25 years, so we use a lot of their methods. That's helped quite a bit.
I would also say as a board member that these three people spend a lot of late nights and a lot of their weekend time running this program because the kids aren't available until after school and on the weekends, and so they dedicate a lot of their personal time as well.
Yeah, we do work Saturday mornings and so we have a weird schedule, but yeah, we make it work.
So you're able to get into the schools at all during the school day?
Some of it is, yeah. We work closely with the schools, and when we do the senior advising, that will hopefully take place during the school day when the kids are there. And some of the schools that are challenged with transportation issues with the kids, some of the lower performing, where it's the poverty, where the issues are, and which schools they probably are. We did go into some of the schools last year, and the principals allowed us to do some of the programming there because it was harder for the kids to get to a location, and we're looking at doing more of that this year. So as we learn more and we develop better relationships with the principals and they get to know us better, we're hoping that some more of that can happen. And we try to use early release days, and we're trying lots of different things to see what.
Do you have an official sort of interface or working relationship with all the guidance counselors?
Mm-hmm. We have a liaison in each building, so we have a representative in the guidance department that we work with directly, and then we know the other ones too, but there is one particular person that is our link. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Commissioner Howe?
I just want to say thank you for your passion, Jade and Rohan. Keep up the hard work. Thank your families for coming. If Marvin and I can help you, we are on the education task force for the commissioners, and we'd love to help you. What you're doing makes a big difference, and sometime we'd like to get with you, and we're trying to put forth a better effort of tracking our students, when they leave Iredell County and how many's coming back and the success stories, and because I think that helps, just like these gentleman and lady are coming to show other children that you can achieve what your mind can conceive. And so thank you for what you do. I know I've heard lots of good things, and keep up the hard work. Thank you.
I think the unique thing about your program is not only is it trying to get kids in four-year schools, but it's trying to get kids in vocational.
Right.
And sometimes those kids are just sort of left out. And so that's the one thing I really appreciate about this kind of program is that you're looking at all kids in all different sectors. So I appreciate that, and keep that good work up.
And we take everyone who applies. So there's no, process in terms of elimination or anything like that. They go on the website, they apply, and they're in.
Right.
So, but
great job.
Yeah, we are really trying to make that known. It's not an elite program for kids who only want to go to Ivy Leagues or anything like that, and it's not for low-income kids only. It's for everybody, and that's
without asking you for $1.
And we really appreciate that.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Just keep donating to Goodwill.
Yeah.
That's where we're getting our money. Yeah. So, okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas.
Well, our biggest challenge is economic development, and the economic developers will tell you that the primary factor for whether an industry decides to locate in Iredell County or a commercial enterprise is human capital. That is a workforce that is not only prepared academically to handle the job requirements, but ones which come in with a team approach, that are lifelong learners, that have the right values and the right work ethic, that are drug-free, so that they have made choices, the right choices early in life, without foreclosing opportunities by making bad choices. And you have to reach down into the middle schools these days in order to reach that audience. So having your presence in Iredell County is just an outstanding force multiplier for our schools and for our businesses because, this year there are more millennials in the workforce than there are baby boomers. And there is a huge bow wave of retirements. And to backfill those jobs that are becoming more and more complex and automated, they need qualified folks. And there are many industries that have jobs that are going begging because they cannot find those qualified individuals. So we have to start working early, shaping and molding kids and getting them to see the connection between the time they spend in school and the rest of their life, and create that relevance and that passion. So just want to thank you for the efforts that you all are making and your rapid expansion, and 2,200 students to impact is that's not small ball. That's important, and so we look forward to getting periodic updates, and as I said, through the year, so that we can leverage every resource that we have in order to produce the result we all want. So thank you again. And now at item 6.3, this is a good segue to Mr. Bryan Duncan, who is the Executive Director of iCare, for an annual Community Services Block Grant and a Poverty Plan. And before he starts, I would just like to congratulate him on being elected the national president of the association of its iCare organizations for at least a 2-year term, hopefully more. But that's just a recognition of the talent that we have here in Iredell County, not only in terms of delivering services, but in doing so in a creative way, innovative way that can have application throughout the country. So your leadership is appreciated, and we congratulate you on your new extra job.
Thank you, Commissioner Mallory, and good evening. Good to see you all again. Seems like these years go faster and faster and faster.
Yes.
So we're back to share about the Community Services Block Grant, the Anti-Poverty Plan. Let me present some structure, I guess, in terms of the funding flow. So this money basically comes down from the federal government, from the Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families. It's passed through the state DHHS Office of Economic Opportunity, which is housed in the Division of Social Services. And then it flows down to communities. That's how it happens in North Carolina. In other states, they do it any number of different ways. The funding is block granted, but it's a unique block grant, at least in my opinion, because it's one that works. It's one that definitely works. It's a wealth building program, and it's one that probably you can make an argument that devolution can be successful if it's done in the correct way. Our funds require us to have organizational standards. We have performance management framework. There's a federal, state, and local control process that is required by us. We operate with a tripartite board of directors, 1/3 of which are public officials or their appointees. 1/3 is private citizens, and the other 1/3 is low-income representatives. We combine resources from all over the community. Right now, I did just a quick count before I came over. We're working with 33 employers here in Iredell County. a large part of what we do with this money is we're getting people back to work. The recession did a number not only on us, but just this whole country. And this was one way that we felt like, as a result of our community forums that we held, we knew that we needed to get people back to work. We needed to make sure that they had the requisite skills to be able to go to a job and to stay on a job. As Commissioner Mallory said just earlier, sometimes going to the job is quite a challenge because they can't get there either because of past criminal history or not being able to pass a drug test. One of the benefits of our funding is that we are not an entitlement program. So we can be quite selective in those that we serve, making sure that we utilize the funding in the best and most efficient way possible. We have a national infrastructure. We're outcome driven and accountable at all levels. The long-range plan is obviously it's the same as it's been for the prior 2 years. We're actually going into the third year of a 3-year plan. So if you recall, those of you who were here last year, we talked about the community forums that we did around the county that kind of drive the development of this plan. Well, next year, 2017, we'll be going back through community forum processes to determine what our plan will be for the ensuing 3 years. So I look forward to your participation in that process. I'll certainly be inviting each of you and members of the public from all over the county to engage in that process so we can see how we need to best utilize this funding in the future 3 years. Just in the way of outcomes, this past year, 20 customers rose above poverty. Average change in income was a little over $12,000. We reduced food stamp dependence by 38%. 16 obtained employment. 5 actually got better employment. Average rate was $9.89 per hour, and provided 24 customers with employment supports. 46 were provided educational supports. So we do find ourselves sending a lot of people back to school. In most cases, it's Mitchell Community College or a surrounding community college if the course offering that they are seeking is not offered at Mitchell. I think about a gentleman named Randy who came to us that was, had worked all his life, and the recession closed the company that he was working with. Really didn't, just in and out of fast food jobs. So we sent him back to Mitchell. Eventually, he went over to Newton, actually, to truck driving school. He went to Mitchell to do the CRC. Then he went to truck driving school, came out, finished. We helped him with his tuition there. He paid a portion, which we encourage people to do, so they have some skin in the game. He's started with $17 an hour, is doing well, and that was just kind of a springboard to, I think, what will become a great future for him. That's one of many success stories that we have from individuals that we work with every day. We'll probably serve, I think we're contracted to serve about 80 individuals next year. We typically over-enroll by 20-25%. And so it's heavy work, it's hard work, but it's worth it. Staff do a really good job. Board is more than accountable. Just listening to your audit, we just went through that. We have a single audit done every year as well. Haven't had any findings for the last 7 or 8 years. I have a really qualified staff and really proud of the work that we do. I will entertain any questions that you might have for me.
Questions? Well, Bryan, I'll just tell you that, in today's fast-changing economy that, and the hard nut to crack are jobs that have been lost in the last decade due to whether it's a recession or whether it's driven by automation.
Absolutely.
And those jobs, the skills that people had, the work ethic they had, are not transferable to the newer economy, or where the jobs are that pay a really decent wage. And so our school system obviously has a captive audience in a sense, that you've got them in a pipeline, and we have to be very intentional about trying to, as you saw the previous presentation with the Crosby Scholars, is a part of that. But the hard population to really reach and impact are those that are already through school. They're working, and they're trying to raise a family. Or they're looking for employment, or they're underemployed, or they got 2 or 3 part-time jobs and no benefits to go along with it. And so your organization is one of the few I'm aware of that really focuses in on that group, that doesn't have any other mechanism out there other than just them deciding to go to Mitchell. And a lot of times, people just don't have the resources or don't have the information to be able to get them on that upward track, upward mobility. So we appreciate the hard work you do and the results that you're achieving, and hope that you're able to further expand and amplify that, and whatever we can do to assist in that process. And if there's, we've had a sea change at the federal level.
That's great.
Along with that, I suspect you'll have fewer regulations, more block grant type of funding. If there's ways that this board, that's way above our pay grade, but we can reach out and selectively engage with either congressmen or senators or members of the General Assembly who are writing the laws that govern how you access and the level of access of funds that you have, and the level of strings attached.
Absolutely.
So that every community is a little different, and whatever works here, I think we are best positioned to be able to determine what that is. So local control, if that's what seems to be a bit of a driver for the national election, that local means local.
Absolutely.
It doesn't stop somehow in Raleigh,
right,
or stay in Washington. So we may have a window of opportunity to try to push and engage in some innovative programs and expand your ability to reach out and touch people. So let us know how we can help in that regard.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I just wanted to say thank you. Bryan is a old teammate and classmate, and one of those people that hung around Iredell County and helped and contribute to our county. So I wanted to say thank you and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Okay, move on to item 7, public hearings. I don't believe we have any on tap for tonight. Item 8, administrative matters that were appropriate for consent agenda. I'm going to ask our county manager, Mr. Smith, to please summarize those.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just as a reminder, item 7 was removed from this list. The board and item 5 has also been removed from the consent agenda. So item 1 is a request from the Sheriff's Office to use approximately $42,000 in federal equity sharing funds and Jail Commissary Profit funds to purchase educational materials, an unmarked vehicle, and a radio system for same. Request from the Sheriff's Department for approval of an amendment to the Retention and Disposition Schedule in regard to House Bill 972 for audio and video recordings. A A request from the Finance Department for approval of Mooresville Graded School District's lottery and public school building capital ADM fund applications in the amount of $1,505,170. A request from the Finance Department to approve transfers and an amendment to the Mooresville High School project ordinance in the amount of $1,060,950. A request from the Finance Department on behalf of Stony Point Volunteer Fire Department for budget amendment number 12 to appropriate $12,400 from the Fire Tax District fund balance to retire debt. A request from the Finance Department for approval and signature of a 7-year lease with Iredell Arts Council.
We tabled that.
For the old county jail building, and yes, I mentioned that up front, and then I read it anyway.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
I'm sorry. And then a request from the Tax Administration to approve the November refunds and releases. A request from the clerk to the board for approval of the minutes from meetings on December 5th and 6th, 2016. And Commissioner Halp is exactly right. Item 8 was tabled until January 3rd, 2017.
With the exclusion of item 8 and excluding item 5, all other matters, and 7, I'm sorry. Yeah, all other matters are on the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, if you'd like, I will go through item 5 in more detail.
Yes, that's one reason we left it off the consent agenda, was to give a little context and background as to that particular request for approval.
Okay, and I will mention that item 8 will have to get an official motion and to table that request.
Is there a motion to table the request from the Finance Department for approval and signature of 7-year lease with Iredell Arts Council for the old county jail building? So moved by Commissioner Norman. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is carried. Item is tabled until January the 3rd.
Okay, the item on the agenda as 8.5 is a request from Finance Department for approval of budget amendment number 11 for a state grant in aid to Mitchell Community College Endowment LLC for asbestos abatement at Old Davis Hospital site. That's changed somewhat since the agenda was developed. Lisa Valdez and I have been speaking to the state about money that was appropriated by the state at the prodding of Senator David Curtis, and that money was basically set forth through the budget for this year. And we have been talking about the best way in which to utilize what is $250,000 that was appropriated for asbestos abatement. Now, we've talked to the state about how to do that. Thought we had a good answer on the logistics, which would be a sub-grant from the county to the Mitchell Community College Endowment LLC. But we found at a very late date, as in about 4:55 today, that there are still a few questions out there. And what we would like to do is basically recognize this money, and I would ask that you give me the authority, once we get the details worked out, to basically move forward on a sub-grant as it is stated here. Now, for background, the $250,000, what we are trying to achieve is to pool some money, this plus an additional $200,000 that was granted by the state to Mitchell Community College to help with the abatement and cleanup of the old Davis Hospital site. It does appear that there is a light at the end of the tunnel on this project, but we still have some details to work out. This is one of them, and some money issues to work out going forward. And then I do hope that sometime within the next 30, 45 days that we have a way forward on this long-lasting saga dealing with the Old Davis Hospital.
And I believe that the funding is basically has a sunset of the end of the fiscal year in June.
Yes, as it was appropriated initially, it does have a sunset. However, if we are able to subgrant this money to the LLC, then that sunset, in the least, will be extended, if not eliminated altogether.
So that's the purpose of doing this, so that we lock those dollars in, regardless of the mechanism and the ultimate disposition of the old Davis Hospital site. Okay. Any further discussion? Questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we proceed and let Mr. Smith go ahead and inquire, see if we can't use this $250,000 grant as a sub-grant. I give him that leeway.
Motion by Commissioner McNeely. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. That disposes of all the items that were on the agenda for the consent agenda. Moving on to item 9, announcement of vacancies occurring on boards and commissions. There are none this evening. Item 10, we do have an appointment to the Board of Health. And Vice Chairman Bowles.
Yes, I would like to recommend the nomination of Ms. Candace Reeves be appointed to fulfill the term of the pharmacy position. And she has agreed to serve again. She has actually been filling that unexpired term for the past 6 months, and I will add that she's done an excellent job. She's very engaging, very knowledgeable, and always willing to lend a hand. So I would nominate Ms. Candace Reeves for that appointment.
Motion by Vice Chairman Bowles. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Is there any unfinished business to come before the Commission? Hearing none, this is a public comment period, being the second meeting of the month. Is there anyone that has signed up? No one signed up. I'll inquire of any of the hardcore folks that have remained if they desire to be heard on any issue. Hearing none, then we'll proceed. Any new business? No new business. We'll proceed to the county manager's report. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing in depth tonight. We'll just give you a jail construction update. The site improvements that you all approved back several months ago are basically almost in culmination. The flagpole was raised, the monuments have been moved, walkways have been poured, and this is all in the effort to shift the front of the building to the Stockton Street side. If you've not driven through there, you'll see a number of signs that we've tried to steer people in the right direction from a parking standpoint, and get people to start using that Stockton Street side, and more so as we continue to move along. The things are going along very well. We have had to block off parking for the sidewalk project, and now some for some borings that are taking place as a part of the actual construction project. Haven't heard anything negative as far as the parking goes, so things seem to be going along very well. And thanks to David Salibi and David Montgomery for all their work on this. This is we haven't moved any dirt yet at all, and it's already been a pretty difficult project. Second thing, county offices are closed on Friday and Monday for Christmas.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Report back, we did have a closed session at the conclusion of our pre-agenda meeting to deal with a personnel matter pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 subsection A6, and that matter has been resolved. At this time, before the motion to adjourn, we'd just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and be safe out there on the roads. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those like sign. Adjourn.